So if you saw my short, I got this 12 valve for free, and I'm gonna give you a little tour around this gym. As you probably tell, it's first gen 12 valve, cab and a half, king club, cab, double cab, whatever you want to call it. It's the one that has a window behind it but no door. Whatever you want to call it. I forget what Dodge calls it actually, but it's a dually. It's got this big ranch hand bumper on it. This is actually for me when I got it. My buddy was helping me, and I was towing it next to a tree to try to park it next to a tree, and I kept pulling, and he didn't tell me to stop. And then, well, he said he told me to stop, but I wasn't loud enough. So then, actually got into the tree. The bumper didn't help us, but tailgate is fairly straight. The bed, it's probably salvageable. Probably get that out pretty easily. Bed rail is messed up over there. Dually fenders, they're shot. Definitely need some fiberglass work. I don't like doing fiberglass work. If you can tell, this isn't centered in the wheel well. He was telling me that the pins are broke off on the leaf spring pack. So the axle just kind of shimmies back and forth. But it's got some big old meaty tires on it. You can't really see right now because it's covered in mud, but it's got the chrome covers. I forget, they have a name for those also. But all the front end stuff's in the back. Here's the VE pump still, VE timing cover. Another door for it that's also smashed. It's the driver's side door that is smashed on this. This door doesn't really light up all that well. The cab's in pretty good shape. The roof does have some rust in typical Dodge fashion down here. It's funny because I have one that's sitting in New York that's an 83 and it doesn't have any rust up here. But the sun bakes out this seam sealer and then the water collects underneath it and rots out the roof that way. But it's got the little buddy seats in it, intercooler and stuff. It's in here, radiator, 5-speed. It's got, says, see that 231 on there. Looks like it has 1,000,00231 on it. Dash isn't cracked. Sometimes these ones crack on the edge. These like foam style Dodge dash pads, whatever you want to call them. The seats, got some cardboard in there. Keep the springs out of your butt. This is an electric window. It's a crank window over there, so I think he has the crank window stuff over there on that other door, so I got to take that off. Redo it. Electrical, that's another thing. That's a mess. That door doesn't shut, so that's got to be done. I think the top needs to be tilted in, bottom needs to be kicked out. Hood's not terrible. This front fender, that's junk, so yeah, it needs another one of those. Front tires, they're kind of ballooned. It looks like they're off like a Ford because they're like super crowned. I don't remember if the first gen tool drives are that bad about destroying tires like that. They do have that weird front suspension setup thing with like the single pivot in the back and then I guess it's not really a torsion bar, but some sort of bar that pulls it forward. But this is the only thing anyone cares about really in these first gens because they're a pretty tinny truck. It was my first truck, was a first gen, so I have experience with them. I've driven them. Mine was 4x4, so it's like the worst riding vehicle ever made. So I can talk crap about them because I've had them. I've driven them. So it had a big fire. You can see all the wiring melted. I bought this, so when I do get it going, I can at least move it. So that was all melted also. The brakes are super spudgy. So that needs to be bled. I don't know if it's because it caught on fire and boiled that. But, you know, it needs a little bit of everything. So, again, here's what everyone cares about. P-pump 12 valve. So this is supposed to be some serious pump, I guess. That's what he told me. It's supposed to have big delivery valves and stuff. I don't know what pump it's based off, if it's like a 185, 215 pump or whatever. But it's got a brand new timing cover on it. He spent a bunch of money on this. This all happened on the first startup, so this never happened. So this doesn't have any miles on it or anything. Just one startup and it ran away on him. So this hose was ran into, this is like a boost port. It's just like a vacuum well, these don't have vacuum, but it's just a reference for like your boost that you put in there. Just a little like 1/8 inch pipe tap that goes in there. And he had this, your return line running off that. So when this was returning fuel, this is a little pressure bleed off. This is a snubber valve. So the excess fuel that doesn't need it bleeds off and it goes back to the tank. But he had it running into there. And so that is what made it keep running when he tried shutting it off. So it was just winging to the moon. He thinks it spun a bearing or something. He said he pulled the oil out of it and there's a bunch of metal and stuff and there's just metal dripping all out of it. So there's that. And then he got new injection lines. And then they have like these weird adapters to run off the VE lines. He got all this from like a local hydraulic place. He had all the lines made there. That's why this is like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna pull it all out, redo everything that needs to. I mean, if the crank's salvageable, salvage the crank and put all new bearings and stuff in it. Hopefully, cylinder walls are good. And it does have stock valve springs in it. So winging it that high, it probably started pulling them through the retainers. So I'm definitely going to pull all the valve covers off, check that out. I'm going to tear the whole engine apart, reseal it, and do whatever needs to be done to it. But that's something to look for if one of these ever over revs, is to see if the valves started pulling through the retainers, because they're really soft, because they're only meant to turn like 2100. So they don't really like going above that. And that pump has governor springs for $4,000 in it. So it was probably turning 4,000 somewhere thereabout or more. So yeah, this thing's probably not a happy camper. He kept the turbo off it. He's going to put it on another truck, like a Slant 6 D100 or something, I think he said. I can't remember exactly what he told me. This fender's got a crease in down there. That one may be able to get popped out. I haven't really messed with it yet. This door is junk also. See there, she's pretty caved in. The roof over here, it's not terrible. The door panel shot, and then you can see there where it creased, that pushed it in. It had to have broken the glass, so I'm guessing they replaced that. But cab pretty good over here. Rockers and everything are good. Seems like it goes into all the gears. He was driving it before he P-pump swapped it. Bed not terrible on this side. Dually fender is definitely junk again. But yeah, just wanted to show this thing off a little bit, because I got it for free, so that's pretty sweet. And I'll tell the story how I got it for free. All right, so how I got it is like, I don't know, like probably around 3 years ago. I had a 383 out of my Fury. If you go back to my channel, it was on there, and it was locked up. I was asked a couple $100 for it or something, and this younger kid, like around the same age as me, he comes and gets it, and I'm talking to him or whatever, and I'm asking him what he does. He was in the Air Force. He's still in the Air Force, but he was living in the dorms, and I remember how much money you make being in the dorms. So I'm like, dude, you could just have this. If you want to do something with it, have at it, have fun with it. So I gave it to him. He was all excited, and we talk every now and then. He drives like I think it's like 84, 85 D100 single cab long bed, 318 in it, and he just needs parts here and there and stuff. So I'd always just give him. It would be something simple like a pulley or like a belt, or like one time he needed a carburetor. His carburetor messed up, so I sold him an Edelbrock for like $20, and he ran around with that forever. So whenever he needed something, I just hook him up, because I remember what it's like being in the dorms. You don't make no money. So, and then he got this dually. He brought it over once. He showed me it, and he was driving it. He'd drive by my house all the time, rev it up when he goes by. And he drove it all over. And so then he like texted me out of the blue. He's like, "Hey, you want my dually?" I was like, I just started selling like all my other project stuff. I'm like, "Nah, I don't want it, man. Like, I'm selling all my stuff." He's like, "You can have it." I'm like, I mean, if you want to give it to me, I'll take it for sure. And then he's like, "All right, I'll get one of my buddies to haul it over." So him and his buddy, they brought it over on this huge trailer. And he's like, yeah, you can have it. He's just telling me everything that happened to it, how it caught on fire, how it just kept running and stuff. And he's like, I don't want to fix it or whatever. He's like, I don't have time to fix it. I'm about to get out of the Air Force. So I'm like, all right, I'll take it. So he gave it to me, got the title with it and everything. He gave me some like 350 horse injectors with it. And he's like, I know you'd do something cool with it. So I was thinking about taking that pump off and putting it on my second gen, making that a little more radical. And then taking the stock turbo off that, putting it on this, and then that pump, because that pump's fairly mild. I mean, it's got 4K governor springs and stuff in it, but and 0555 delivery valves. So with the HP, or not HP, with the AFC Live, if you have this switch flipped up, it's pretty manageable. Like it gets to like 800 towing degrees. So I'll probably do a little swapperoo with that once I pull all this stuff out. And yeah, that's kind of my plan for it. Probably just try to get it up and going. And not really sure. Because it would be pretty sweet to have a single cab, or not single cab, a first gen dually as a race car hauler, but the third gen just drives so nice. I like having the third gen. So not really sure what I'm going to do with it. Definitely got to get it going again. Might use it just to prep my track in my backyard for a little bit until I figure out what I really want to do with it. But I at least need to get it running so I can move it and stuff and, you know, have it be a functional vehicle if I want to pick up something. Yeah, it's rough enough where like I could like haul scrap with it and stuff like that. Like I'm not going to try to make it any worse than it is, but you know what I'm saying? It's a good work truck. So I'm probably going to keep it like that, and not keep it like that, but if you get the gist, I'm trying to make conversation here, but yeah, it's an old truck. You know, it's not nice by any means, but super nice of them to give it to me, and definitely going to put it to work and see what happens with it. So yeah, that's how I got my. Oh, and when he was here, when he dropped it off, the Snap-on guy came, and he like we went on the truck or whatever. So I bought him a Snap-on like 3/8 ratchet, like a flex head. So actually, I traded like a brand new Snap-on ratchet for the truck. So that's the story. I don't know how much I'll post about it. I pretty much focus on the dirt track stuff now. I don't know if people like seeing the other stuff, the diesel stuff. I mean, I don't really do much of my second gen anymore. But if you want to see more of it, comment, like the video, and then if that does good, then I'll do more videos of this stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching.